Well, welcome to your 2026 year ahead reading. This is the second one that I've done. The first one was more on the macro, looking at, well, the state of the nation, what's going on around us in the world and the country right now. This reading is about the inner world, how we are coping with it, what we can do to get through tough times, what challenges are coming for my collective, and I'm going to use fossils because I love the fossil readings and we're doing really well with these things. So which way do we take this today? Well, this is coming out of our shells. So we may have already been through a period of introspection here where we now need to apply those lessons and come out of our shell to change our life in a positive direction of growth. What I'm hearing is, as you know, as the snail grows, it just continues to spiral outward. And so that's what's happening to your souls right now, is they're continuing to expand and spiral outward. Now, if you are sound sensitive or anything like that, you might want to just turn the volume down for a second, because I'm going to be throwing rocks in this abalone shell, and it's a little high-pitched noise sometimes, and so is me moving the rocks around. You know, as you're sitting there, though, you want to just focus some energy on the bag in my hand. See what my collective needs to know about their internal growth and inner world, inner experience, and how to leverage that for their highest and best. Oh, all right. We got one. Do you want to... No, you don't. Okay. Maybe you do. We'll see where to get that later. I already see a sphere in there. And then we've got the octahedron too. The more I use out. Get out of the way, cryptids. I am going to be clarifying with the little cryptid oracle. One of my favorite decks of all times. Doop-de-doo. It's the best. And it works really well with the fossils. So let me put the signifier here in the middle. And this is where it gets loud, folks. So if you're going to close your ears or turn the volume down, this is the time to do it. Oh. Wow. Bone flew right off. We're going to pause for a second just to look at this, because this is a lot of people. This is a big collective. One more. All right, well, we're going to start reading here because this is pretty intense. Oh, what are you doing over here? This little bone flew all the way off the cloth here. And it's a chicken femur. It represents, well, this represents a theme that's been coming up in my readings lately about people feeling stuck, like we're hitting a wall, like things are not progressing where they need to. You know, it represents movement, travel, and, you know, all of that is just kind of, it's not happening, that's for sure. That's for sure. But there's a lot going on here, and I want to break it down. Got this octahedron up here in the spiritual layer. So what I want folks to understand is, on a grand scale here, we're gaining spiritual understanding and wisdom, and that's what's being opened up at this time. And we're gaining that through the experience that we're having in the world. And I just flipping, the mask. What's the experience that we're having in the world right now? Well, we have a bit of a dichotomy. Well, it's not really a dichotomy. We're struggling. This is where the shift is making itself known here, and where we're moving through is letting go of these masks. And that is a mental construct. It is the idea that we have to be a certain way, exist a certain way in the world in order to, you know, be worthy of things, to have any kind of value, instead of our birthright, which is expressing ourselves for exactly who we are. And we have grounded this idea of we have to act and behave and do this way. And, you know, as somebody who is neurodivergent, I understand that You know, often we're still masking and able to get through and make ourselves have a home and be able to eat and do all that good stuff in the world. But there's an idea that we can't let go of it. And there is, so we're struggling with this idea of not being able to let that mask down, be who we are, or that who we are isn't this product of what people told us it was, or what we think society wants us to be. You know, there's more to us. There's greater depth. There's more to us than that. We have this very grounded reality of needing to wear this mask, and above in the spiritual, and this is all in the present moment here, it's closed off our hearts, and this is something that we don't see, is how closed off our hearts are. And it's a hard we don't see how closed off our hearts are, even when we feel a lot, especially when we feel a lot, we don't always know how closed off our hearts are. And how and this is also talking about struggling with building connections. It's feeling left out, you know. Everything is flippin' mineralized coral. But it's like this wall of trying to connect and only feeling like we're getting so far. And we're at this crossroads right now. We're at a crossroads. Needing to figure, because we're not happy. Things are not pleasant. We've got this worry. You know, this worry, honestly, is a lot of stuff in the past that isn't even around anymore. A lot of what we've been dealing with and worrying about are lessons that maybe we're refusing to process or look at here. And it's emotional understanding. It is connecting with our emotions, but there is healing and growth in processing those emotions. And it's not, you know, it's not just worrying over them or, you know, obsessing over things that we should be have let go of by now, but really understanding that if something keeps coming up, then there's a reason, and you need to look at that within yourself. And some of these things are very hard to look at, and some of these things for many people are even subconscious. And in the world right now, we have a real need to open our hearts and to connect. It's so important. It's so very important. And we're manifesting this. I love this in the physical here. We're manifesting. This is the sphere of manifestation, and it's all blue like the earth. It's a very earthy sphere, although the sphere is very associated with the element of water. So there's a lot of emotion in this, although this is in the physical layer. So this means in the real world, we are wanting to manifest this, and we are manifesting this beautiful new world, and we're going through some growing pains, and that's part of the process, but we are manifesting, and it is closer than we think. The problem is our past experiences here have been dragging us down, and also a lot of us are really struggling to imagine what kind of world we could all possibly live in, because we've only experienced one that's been severely oppressive. And this is where imagination comes in, and this is where exploring history comes in, and this is where, you know, finding little joys in the world comes in, and connecting with others comes in, and why that's so important. Community is especially in this country, nation, blah blah blah. I'm in the U.S. Hello, Chicago. Community is very broken and very fragmented, and that's what this is. And it struggles with community in the real world. It's a lot of butting heads, is what it is. This is in the mental layer. So it's, you know, it's a community we haven't shared values with. We're butting heads with them. We're struggling to, you know, get along, and we don't form deep emotional connections. We haven't been forming deep emotional connections with others before that, because of that, and it's really struggled. This is an interesting, but this is, it's like the sun. It's hexagonal, right? So there's an order to this. And it is us understanding that we are not islands who are meant to live on our own out in the middle of nowhere. You know, we did not come onto this planet with billions of other people to do that. We didn't. And so where there's strength inside, and we're illuminating that within ourselves, there is understanding of what we can and can't tolerate, and what we should and shouldn't tolerate in the physical world. A lot of us in my collective have attachment issues of one form or another. That's what I'm seeing here. And many of us are sort of not really looking at them. Haven't been, but now they're starting to be illuminated. Is this actually a hagstone? I just saw the light. It is actually a hagstone. That hole goes all the way through. That's amazing. Okay. Hagstones everywhere, hon. We have friends. Hagstones everywhere. There's one. Anyway, there's more in the set. This is about love and comfort and community support and spousal support and friends and, special people. And it's, of those special relationships of all kinds and how they nourish us and why they're so important. Co-regulation is a big thing, and this is what's being illuminated. We need each other. We're in a culture where we demonize people for having feelings, or, and Western mental health teaches us to heal in our own little bubbles and not put things on people and blah, blah, blah. We've all been through stuff. And we're denying ourselves that community co-regulation that allows us to feel safe and supported in our healing process. And this is where we're at a crossroads right now, because the reality of the world is very ugly. And we are really struggling with suppressing our feelings around this out of self-preservation. Can I get some cryptids here just on this, because this is sort of what you've been experiencing in the world. Oop, there we are. La Llorona. Oh dear. She says caution. She says caution because I see. Anything else? Thank you. Ooh, jeez. Film. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Look at that. Caution, freedom, devious, fulfillment. Move that up here. I know my thing's zoomed out, but I just don't care. Caution, devious, freedom, fulfillment, chupacabra. I love him. And the skunk ape showing up again. Oh, he's pointing at connections. Oh, interesting. Wow. So we struggle in society with trusting ourselves and each other, right? Always worried about what is hidden that we don't know in people and how that's going to play out, and how we can be just overly cautious and not letting people in and shutting down entirely. When again, we need to be, the co-regulation part of healing is so important. So we have Skunk Ape again pointing. I love this. I had a fragment of a client reading I posted on my Instagram, and Skunk Ape was again pointing at one of the rocks. And what he says is, freedom comes from, this. You're not trying to bust through this wall. You're trying to find fulfillment. And if you're hitting a wall with people, places, situations, and things, it's time to go. And that's what you're learning. That's one of the things that you're learning, is that if you can't make a situation resonate with you, it will do that. You fit in, but you need to be mindful of what it is that you're sacrificing in order to do that. Values, ethics, morals, what? And what that community really looks like too. We are understanding that fulfillment doesn't come in a bubble either. And especially now at this point in time, at this point in history, it really requires us to work together. There's that Petoskey stone, and that is, that is strength and community right there. That's a coral. The beautiful, again, hexagonal structure, which is a very divine shape, that hexagon. And that is pointing at this sphere of manifestation, which is the better world that we want to see. Now, next to it here is the Eye of God. One of them. This is one of them. This is the one that's pretty blatantly an eye. And there's another one that is a little more colorful and that has its own meanings. But this Eye of God here in the physical is looking here in the emotional at this guy who's a little frog. He's a little frog, and frogs are, they are amphibious, so they're masters of water and of earth. And the Eye of God is looking at this frog, and the frog is looking at the crossroads. And so what's the answer here for getting through these crossroads? It's keep yourself grounded and accept that emotional balance is part of that. And as we move forward here into the future, in the emotional layer, we've got the boundaries stone. And that's what we're learning. We're learning what appropriate boundaries are. We're learning not to give too much or sacrifice too much to situations that aren't really feeding us. We're learning healthy boundaries, and we're learning to respect other people's boundaries in healthy ways. Now, where does the divine understanding come in? Because we still have this. We're standing still. We still have this octahedron out here in the spiritual layer that's coming to roost in the. You want me to use the tarot? That's coming to roost in the material world here in the little further out future. Maybe towards the end of the year. So as I see this, we've got a lot is happening by spring. Summer, I think, is up in the air, and this is going to depend on a lot of what you do in the spring. And the same with fall and winter, but end of summer is really where you're going to be understanding that, having that insight and that mental growth, that knowledge, that learning. Two of Pentacles. Boy, oh, God sustaining everything. I love her. Fortune and fame fulfills any request. Ooh. Could it be about manifestation? Knight of Pentacles, the Devil, Four of Cups. Oh. Okay, so I did say this in another reading recently too, but I think this is a big theme for people right now, which is how we feel, like this mask that we wear. This mask that we wear in our lives around people. I read a great article the other day about neurodivergent people and rejection-sensitive dysphoria and how it keeps us constantly masking at every moment. We are built to, not built, but we ended up becoming built to analyze every single second and every single moment of the people around us for threat, for caution, for, am I going to upset you, and adjusting. And it becomes very, it becomes very maladaptive. It becomes very ingrained, and it can be very unconscious. And so this is bringing a lot to our consciousness. Now, as I've laid these down, Skunk Ape is pointing at the pine cone up here. Pine cones, which are again, a symbol of the spiral. And this is actually sitting way up here in the spiritual layer. Just because that's where I put it. But he's pointing at it. So he's pointing at that pine cone. And the pine cone is open, and the seeds, so the seeds can be removed, taken out, eaten, whatever, fall out. Sorry about that, had to cough. So the seeds are able to fall out. What seeds have we planted? What seeds are being planted within us by the divine? What's shifted in our understanding, in our wisdom, in our inner experience? What isn't shifting in our inner experience or our outer experience? There are seeds being planted here for you to be able to find a path through this mess on a micro scale, for you to follow this path for yourself. And what that leads to for you personally is going to differ from person to person, but these are the themes that we're talking about here. And this is about authenticity, fulfillment, understanding, not isolating and shrinking away from that which is difficult, or in the sense of self-preservation and protection, allowing ourselves to remain in toxic situations and circumstances with people, places, situations, and things that are absolutely draining us for everything that we've got. Because we have to wear these masks constantly. And it makes, even for folks who aren't neurodivergent, it's a performance. Truly. We can all be very thespian with the masks that we wear in public, who we portray, we should just be portraying ourselves. Period. Honestly, fake it till you make it, which is a phrase you hear all the time. It's bad. It's terrible advice. It's terrible advice. Fake it till you make it, it requires a lot more than just faking it. You actually have to learn what you're doing. And if you just fake it, you're not actually getting anywhere, and then things tend to fall apart. What this also says here, as we move in the future, Two of Pentacles, God sustaining everything, and then below her, the Knight of Pentacles, the Devil, and the Four of Cups. And so immediately this says to me, as a society, we are starting to wake up to how we need to sustain each other, and how our money-driven culture has really left us wanting, and some of us wanting really badly. We've got all these four of angels with their cups up to Poyal, who's got this bounty in this basket here. The devil, Samael, in the middle there, turning away, trying to turn them away from that. And the Knight of Pentacles here. Wow. In my mind, he's got his hand is outstretched holding that. That's a message. His hand is outstretched holding that torch. His other hand is lifted up, and in this is lifted up towards the bounty that Poyal is holding. But what he feels he needs to do is burn everything down below him in order to reach that bounty, and that is absolutely not the case. And how much that leaves everybody wanting when we clamor over each other and climb for status and power. Oh, that is a message. Raphael. Wheel of Fortune, Raphael. God has healed. Healing heals all disorders, protects travelers and medical workers. Now we have a little bit of a way to go before we can be freely traveling again. And I feel like this is sort of a bigger metaphor. I honestly believe that for many of us, travel will be restricted, not necessarily officially, but for reasons of safety. And that will end. This will not last forever. And this is what angels have told me. We are dealing with so much in this world. We're fighting against terribly oppressive situations and structures that are causing us to just break down And it is time to heal. And we will have that. You know, look at that. Fulfillment. This is the Wheel of Fortune. God has healed. Heals all disorders, protects travelers and medical workers. Healing ourselves, healing the planet. And dare I say, if you're in my collective, you are definitely earth-based or connected to earth in some significant way, or very ancestor-driven. So take that as you will. But it is about creating a better place for us all to be. And this is something that a lot of you, if you're watching this right now, you probably are very, very emphatic about the world being more equitable and supporting more people and a hell of a lot less polluted, and understanding the interconnection between all of us. But within, we're really struggling to understand the interconnection between all of us on a very material level, and how that holds us back and keeps us from expressing the emotions that we need to express. This is solidly in the mental layer. We have this little frog also. No, I'm sorry. Oh, no, these two are bridging the mental and emotional layer. Dang. So, which would make sense, being that this is water and earth. So there's a grounding and an understanding of that emotional expression that needs to come out. That needs to come out. We need to examine within what it is that leads us to believe anything that makes us smaller. We shouldn't be an artist because you can't make money. We shouldn't, go out and dance because we have to work overtime to make extra money to go to Disneyland or something like that. And it's a fleeting moment of joy and then back to the grind. What is it that we need to change? What masks need to drop? We're not happy with it. This mask is solidly upside down. Very upside down. This mask is not happy with it. There's not enough joy. How do we manufacture more joy? How do we generate more joy in our lives? We allow ourselves to heal. Oh, cute. Make room for magic. Allow ourselves to heal. Make room for magic. Find balance. Meditate. Look at him. He's cute. Generate joy. I love him. He's so goofy. He's so derpy. But, magic is also that whimsy and that childlike joy and wonder. And that is something we desperately need to embrace as adults. It is the lifeblood of our existence here. It is our birthright to experience that joy. And it is not immature. It is beautiful. Finding that balance between experiencing that wonder and joy, taking care of things, and in the physical world, meditating, taking care of our inner world. Meditating especially on what it really means for us to be fulfilled, as you fall right on top of that. Meditating on what fulfillment really looks like for us. This is hard because a lot of us haven't had experiences. A lot of people, as I work with the hollow bone, it all centers on divine unconditional love. And there are so many people in the world who do not know what unconditional love feels like. They might have if they have a pet. It's very complicated. But it is about opening that heart to even better, knowing that there's even better. And even before I connected with being the hollow bone, I found that love, that joy. Even before that, I found that even better, and I found self-love. And that was a decade ago. And that was just spending time with myself, really looking within about what I really liked, what I didn't, what I wanted in my life and what I didn't. And not being afraid to put things to an end and walk away. And there we are again. Cancer, I think, is what that is. That's the second time that I have seen Cancer in a reading that's come up. So this Cancer full moon is significant. This Cancer full moon is significant. There's going to be things that happen from my collective around this Cancer full moon. Queen of Pentacles. Intellectual lucidity provides consolation and compensations. Mitzrael, my boy. Nine of Swords. Mitzrael, God, liberating the oppressed. Self-atonement, cures mental illness, delivers from persecution. Nine of Swords, purification, protection from the impious. Religious sentiments. This is, when we talk about resetting our boundaries and learning to set healthy boundaries, that's what this is about. Really recognizing this guy, I can see him. I mean, I'm right on top of Goatman there, and he's clinging like he doesn't want to leave, But Mitzrael is like, no, you're out. Done. Done. This is the block. We are liberating the oppressed, and the oppressed being us. And that is a very, very broad definition of oppressed. Very broad. Remember, this is not the State of the Nation political reading. That's something else. Turn on. Thank you. Sorry about that. Computer light. Crossroads, right under magic. Crossroads with the sphere of manifestation here. Magic, balance. What are we manifesting right now? This is what we need to think about. What world are we trying to manifest? Who do we want to be in that world? Who are we, first of all? And how do we find that out? By engaging in some joy and fun and whimsy and letting yourself do things. Breaking out of that mold, letting that mask drop knowingly and engaging in the fun and the frivolity and the magic. Not the structural 9-to-5 workaday garbage whose only aim is more and more money. That's hollow and empty, and no wonder our hearts feel closed when we have to wear these masks to operate in a system that isn't even working well for us. Bringing back balance by liberating the oppressed and liberating ourselves from oppression. We don't have to stay in bad situations that aren't working for us around bad people. We don't have to. Your fulfillment is in the moment. It's not 3 months from now. It's not 6 months from now. I just heard a lot of future faking happening in the collective, and that's not just in romantic relationships. This can happen in a lot of different contexts between people. A lot of future faking, a lot of things will get better, and nope. And this is where we have to stop and pause and say, look, how fulfilled am I? What would it take for me to feel fulfilled in this very moment? What do I need to do to bring that into my life right now? Regardless of what anybody else in my life thinks, believes, how they would react, if they would approve, if it didn't work out, how they would treat me, regardless of any of that. What will make you feel fulfilled? You should go for that, because that's really all that matters. Stop being afraid of confrontation. There is much. This is a fated time, because yes, it is. We are in a big spiritual shift among all of humanity right now. We all know it. At least all of us who are woo. We've been saying it for a while. This is fated, and this is how it feels, okay? This is the divine, this is us. And it feels Like, we really have to look at stuff right now, and it's a lot of pressure, and it's very hard, and it's very emotional, but it is releasing a lot of that emotion. We are afraid of confronting it. But come on, it's Squonk. Look at him. Why are you afraid? Oh, he just sad because nobody wants to hang out with him. For heaven's sake. It's Squonk. You know, this is your inner child who needs your love and who needs to understand that there's magic in the world again. You know, likes to go on walks in the forest with his assless chaps. You know, getting his feet dirty. Okay. Coming to an end of this reading. We're going to actually get into the Create Brave deck, which I'm loving so much. What great prompts. Last few cards here. By the way, I am currently booking readings, healing sessions, fossil divination, psychic mediumship. I recommend a healing session if you're not sure. We incorporate a lot of the same stuff in helping you figure out your path forward and bringing in that divine healing to help accelerate it. Resilience, empathy, empowerment. All right, beautiful. Empathy. I feel the needs of others, and it helps me guide and support them. And this is what we're opening up to. We're becoming more empathetic with each other. We're tuning into each other's stuff now on a grand scale. We can feel each other's feelings. You know, we can feel each other's reactions. That energy, that's always been there for a lot of us. Somehow, some of us feel things a little bit more strongly than others, but we all sense that. You walk into a room where there's been an argument and you sense that energy. It's there. We have felt so worn down. Resilience. I continue to show up even when things are hard. What I think, too, is a lot of us are going through hard times that are allowing for this building of empathy. And I'll tell you, people talking about their parents at Thanksgiving and how things have changed shows that this is really important right now. We really need to look at how we support ourselves and each other and empower ourselves and each other. I show up for myself and my needs. I am in charge. Resilience and empowerment. We're learning to push through, to find that strength in numbers, to heal in community, co-regulate together, and empower ourselves and each other. And that's bringing the balance. All right, I'm hearing one more, and it's like, someone in the collective is, well, so what should I focus on doing then? All right, so here's what you do. I mean, if it's not clear enough for you, be yourself. That's where you need to start. I am the most honest version of myself. Drop that mask. It's time to drop that mask. It's time to really look at who you are, what you like, what fulfills you, what doesn't, and trust yourself. Those are the things that you need to work on. Stop listening to everybody else. Other people don't need to approve of your heart's desires or what makes you feel fulfilled and happy. It just is. Trust yourself. Trust that your authentic self is exactly what this world needs at this very moment. And so you focusing on being authentic and having trust in yourself is also going to encourage others to do the same and trust in each other. That's your reading. It will be a wonderful 2025 for so many of us. If you would like a personal reading, I am booking right now. You can do that directly at theowlandthewolf.as.me. The Owl and the Wolf as me. It's a thing. Anyway, you can also just visit theowlandthewolf.com. I am a hollowbone healer, tarot reader for 30-some years now. And I will help you get down to the nitty-gritty of what needs to go and move and shift in your life. And even throw in some healing if that's what you're looking for. Have a safe and wonderful New Year's Eve, my beautiful collective. Love you all. Take care. And see you next year.